Switching gears a little bit, we're going to talk about something that maybe is a little bit different for what people are expecting of churches in DFW. If you hang around a little bit longer for the future forums, or if you take this journey with us in DFW, you're going to hear us say this phrase a lot: human flourishing. So over the past 2 years, Barna and Glue together have been researching these 5 dimensions of human flourishing, and we're very excited to pull that research into our state of DFW work, right? So those 5 dimensions are spiritual health, financial well-being, mental and emotional well-being, vocation, and relationships. So the reason why in our research, we decided that the findings were so worthwhile that we wanted to pull them forward and continue talking about them in your city is because we see a lot of openness and a lot of interest among churched and unchurched adults alike, and all generations too, for that matter, in regards to like whole life discipleship. So if we look at the left side of the chart here, we see that even among those unchurched adults, there is a fair amount of interest in these dimensions. So the question, the way that it was asked is, how interested would you be if Christian churches in your community offered preaching and programs to help you achieve X, Y, and Z? And we see that 60% say spiritual growth. That's pretty interesting, but even more so, relational well-being at 60%. I would say that's something unique to DFW that performed so highly in your city amongst unchurched and churched adults. Also, mental and emotional well-being, 58% of unchurched adults and 83% of churched adults say they're interested in seeing their churches engage in this conversation. And then also, if we look at the right side of the screen, we do see that those younger generations are especially interested. So maybe this human flourishing conversation can be our response to those negative trends that we saw on the previous slides in DFW of the younger generations not being quite as trusting of the local church or having negative perceptions of the local church. What does it look like to combat that with whole life discipleship through thinking about and caring about human flourishing overall? We're very excited to continue this conversation over the course of these forums for sure.
And as we look at opportunities for, how we're going to reach younger generations, you just stare at that data. And I mean, I just jump out of my skin thinking about the fact that the opportunities with millennials and Gen Z are just huge because they're looking for the gospel to show up in all of life. And one thing we've been seeing in our research for several years now is that younger generations don't want to just know that Christianity is true. They also want to know that it's good. And I think this is a demonstration of the idea that millennials are interested in preaching and programs on this variety of different topics. Look at boomers. Again, this is all faith groups, but boomers just are not as interested. They don't think that churches have as much to offer in those areas. So this is a real area of, I think, potential for us as leaders.